Welcome to the Trading with Venus podcast, where we help you establish strong trading habits, generate consistent profits, and create the lifestyle you desire for yourself and your family. Now your host, Raman Gill.
Welcome to Trading with Venus podcast, episode 57. I am your host, Raman Gill. Today I have a very interesting topic for you. Turning pro, how to become a professional trader. Recently, I got asked the question, how do I trade a small account? So I've been giving this subject a lot of thought. Is there really a difference between trading a small account versus a large account? Now, there may be differences in regards to the strategies that we may follow in terms of how large a position we can take and managing positions. But for the rest of it, is there really a difference? And what exactly do we need to do in order to trade a small account? So this led me to thinking about something that is similar, which is race car driving. Now, race car driving is a very similar profession where all of us at some point have dreamt about becoming a professional race car drivers. Most of us never get to that point, but when we are young, we think about driving fast cars and living that lifestyle, the thrill of it, the glamour, the celebrity. Trading is similar. We all dream about becoming hotshot professional traders. So let's take a look at those two journeys and see how they're similar and what lessons can we learn from becoming a professional race car drivers that we can apply to our trading. So most race car drivers start off with go-karts. As kids, they race go-karts, and that's where they get hooked to becoming race car drivers, to the speed, to winning, and also racing, which is very similar to us starting off with small accounts. When we are new, we don't really have the large accounts to trade off with, or we don't want to take the risk because we are brand new, we don't know what we're getting ourselves into. So most people will generally start off with small accounts. So let's take a look at a journey of a race car driver. Shia Holbrook is a professional race car driver. We'll take a look at how her story unfolds, how she became a professional race car driver. So just like our accounts, Shia started off with a small car as well. When she was 15, her dad took her to one of the car races and she instantly got hooked to it and she wanted to become a race car driver. So the first car that her dad got her was a $500 car. It was a junker. It was just for her to get practice on, for her to get used to driving a car. So that is very similar to us having a small account where we start off with a $500 account. The number may be different for you. However, it's the same idea. We start off with a small practice account. And for her, she didn't go to a large account right away. The next step for her, once she got comfortable driving a car, was to actually drive something that was faster and something that had performance to it. So they got a $6,500 car, an Acura Integra, which she was able to race. And she was able to get her racing license. But that was not the car that she drove in her competitions. So even then, she did not get a professional race car. She didn't have the money. So she had to go raise the money. So at this point, she had practiced, she had learned, and she was ready to become a professional driver. She had put in hours and hours upon training and racing to become a professional race car driver. The next step was to acquire a car. Same with us. We have to put hours and hours learning to trade, practicing on our small account before we make that leap to a larger account where we are able to replace our income from our trading account. A lot of times people will skip that step. So keep that in mind. We cannot go from a $500 account to replacing our income just from that account. So we have to take these baby steps along the way that will get to our target. So for Shia, the next step was to get an actual race car, but she didn't have the money. So she had to go raise the money. They did a crowdsourcing campaign that actually helped her raise $32,500, with which she was able to buy her next car. So that's how she got started in her journey of being a professional race car driver. And the rest is history. So how does this apply to our trading account? When we first get into trading, we hear a lot of hype. We hear how people are able to make lots of money, how we can become millionaires overnight. So we have these dollar bills and dollar signs in our eyes when we get started because that's the hype that we get fed. Now, what is the reality? The reality is not that. When we first start, so it doesn't matter what profession it is, whether you are a professional race car driver or you want to be a doctor, an engineer, a tradesperson, an electrician, doesn't matter what profession you want to go into, you still start at the very basics. So as a doctor, you start off going to school. So you have to do years of training before you even go to residency. And then as a resident, you have to spend hours upon hours and countless sleepless nights before they would even let you see a patient on your own. Same thing with being a tradesperson. Before you can get your license, you have to be an apprentice for a number of years so you can learn the trade. It's the same thing with our trading as well. So first step is not to buy into the hype. Instead, take your small account and think of it as your practice ground. That is your first step. Now you have the training wheels. So you're just learning how to trade. You're not at this point going to compete with the best professionals. All you're doing is you're just hitting a few balls. You're learning how to trade. You're practicing how to take trades. You're practicing discipline and you're practicing what it feels like to be a trader. There's a big difference between an amateur and a professional. So like I said, it doesn't matter what area you are in, what profession you are in, huge difference between an amateur versus a professional. And the amount of time and amount of dedication it takes to become a professional is huge. So if you want to play basketball, you could play in a rec league and do just well and be fine with that and be very happy with that. Enjoy your life and you don't have to work that hard at it. After the games, you go get some beers and life is good. However, if you decide to become a professional basketball player, that is history. Now you have to really commit. You have to dedicate all your time and lots of practice is required to become a professional NBA player. So you're not just looking to shoot a few balls. You are actually practicing day in, day out. You're paying attention to your diet. You're working out in the gym. You're doing various drills and you're practicing your throws. So there's a lot that goes into becoming a professional basketball player. So coming back to trading, the real question is, how do you become a professional trader? So the question is not about the size of the account. The better question is, how do I become a professional trader? So if we start our journey thinking like that, how do I become a professional trader, not trying to compete in Indy 500 with a $500 car, but using that car to become a professional driver as the first step on your journey, that's how we're looking at our small account as well. Your small account is your very first step on your journey to becoming a professional trader. So let's take a look at what does it need. The most important thing, in my opinion, is having the proper process in place. It's the proper process, regardless of the account, that will get you to your pot of gold. It doesn't matter whether you're trading a small account or a large account, you still have to follow the same process. Your strategy could be different. However, the process still stays the same. The amount of time and effort that would go into it because you're practicing to become a professional will be huge. So make sure you understand that. It's not just about the dollars. It's about what it takes to become a professional. So the first decision is you need to decide what you want. Do you want to be an amateur or do you want to be a professional? If you want to be an amateur, that's all right. Just have a trading account, take a few trades, play in the market, and it's all great. It's all fun. However, if you do choose, if you decide to become a professional, then do know that there's a lot that goes into it. And you have to be willing to follow those steps and take the hard steps to actually become a professional trader. So let's take a look at what are these steps? What do you need to do in order to become a professional trader, regardless of the size of your account? So it's quite simple. Set a goal, make a plan, get to work, stick to it, and reach your goal. Those are the steps that will help you become a professional trader. So let's take a moment and break these steps down. So the first thing is understanding what your goals are. Goals are very important because they will help drive us. They will help us get to that point. If we do not have a destination in mind, how do we know when we have arrived? So we need to make sure we have our goals set up. Now, as we are thinking about setting up goals, another important thing that comes up is understanding your why. Why do you want to become a professional trader? There are a lot of different ways to make money in this world, and there are some much easier ways to make money. So, if you decide to become a professional trader, you want to understand why you want that. If it's just for the money, in my opinion, that is not a good enough reason because there will be times that are very challenging in your trading journey. There will be times when you will hit a wall. There will be times when you cannot do anything right. No matter what you do, you just face challenges. And it may not just be related to your trading world. It could be related to something that is external to your trading, but it will impact your mindset. And as a result, it could impact your trading. And you may blow out some accounts. So those will be the times when you are questioning yourself, when others are questioning you, and you have to decide, are you going to continue on? So if your why is clear, it becomes much easier to continue on this journey, even through the tough times. However, if your why is not clear, if you don't know why you want to do this, and if the only reason you want to trade is just to make money, it will be very difficult to get past those hard times. So understand your why and then set your trading goals. So there is something interesting I thought I would do. Since we're talking about this topic, I don't want to just speak on this topic. I thought, why don't we actually put this into practice? So I have set up a small account. It has $3,500 in it. So for some people, this may be slightly larger than what they would start with. For others, this is a little small. Regardless, it does not matter how much money there is, but I thought we will take that as an example and I would implement these things that I am actually telling you about, that I'm talking to you about. So I've set up this account, and as we go through this episode, I will walk you through how I plan to grow this account to a point where I'm actually able to earn a full-time income from that, or it's large enough that it's conceivable to earn some real money from it. Now, keeping that in mind, let's take a look at some of the goals that I have set up for this account. The first thing is, how many pips do I want to make a week? So for myself, I have set up the goal of making 100 pips a week. And I plan to trade the London session. I have found the London session to be the best session to trade. Things are a little bit easier. The trades flow a little bit smoother. Trends are a little bit easier to identify and trade. So I'm going to trade the London session. I will trade the London session 3 days a week. Now, I have a family, I have small kids, so it's not possible for me to trade the London session all 5 days of the week. Plus, I've also found Mondays are not my best trading days. Usually Mondays have small trading range, so it's not the most effective day to trade. Fridays, sometimes we can have really good moves, and other Fridays could have really, really small moves. So that's a hit or a miss. So I have eliminated those two, and I'm only going to trade 3 sessions per week. So that means I have to make 35 pips per day in order to reach my goal of approximately 100 pips a week. So those are my trading goals that I have set up for this account. And as we go forward over the next few months, I will share this account with you. You'll be able to go view this account, and I'll review my progress on this account on an ongoing basis. So the next step is setting up some rules. Now, rules are very important. And these rules are the ones that you are going to define for yourself. These are not the rules that I or somebody else can tell you what to do. These are your rules that you will define for your own trading. Some things to keep in mind as you build these rules are that it's very important to have a clear trading strategy. If you don't know what you're doing, it will be difficult to get to your goal. So have a clear trading strategy, define your trading strategy. There are different ways, different strategies that you can use to get to your goal. So I'm not here to talk about the strategy. I do a lot of videos on YouTube and I speak a lot about different strategies. If you're interested in checking out my trading strategies, I invite you to visit my YouTube channel where I break down my technical trade setups that I take on an everyday basis. Every day we take a look at one trade setup and I show you how to apply that particular trade setup. And I've also done a lot of videos on my trading strategy. So please feel free to check those out. But regardless of what strategy you trade, pick a strategy that you're going to commit to. Another thing that is important to keep in mind is simplifying your trading. It is best to have a simple way to trade, not overly complicated. The next thing is managing risk. It is very, very important to manage your risk. If you're going to hit our target, managing risk will be very, very important. So here are some of my rules. First one is risk no more than 1 to 2% of my account at any given point. Risk no more than 1% of my account on any single trade. Never trade without a stop loss, and stop trading after 3 losses in a row. And then I am done for that day. It's best to walk away. It can be a slippery slope when you're missing your trade. So it's very important for me to recognize when it's time for me to walk away. And as such, I have defined that as 3 trades. So if I lose 3 trades in a row, I walk away for that day and I come back and look for trades the next day. So this is a way of benching myself for that day. The next thing is a trade management. We need to have some rules for trade management. So my rules for managing trades would be 1, to have stop loss and take profit targets in place when I enter a trade. So this way, before I even enter a trade, I need to define these targets so that I know exactly what I want to do. And then as the price moves in my direction, I will trail my stop. Okay, so the next thing we need to talk about now is preparation. For me, preparation is the key to success. You cannot be successful in this profession without preparing. Benjamin Franklin said, failing to prepare is equivalent to preparing to fail. So that is something I always keep in mind. So now for preparation, we are going to do daily preparation as well as weekly preparation. On a daily basis, I will do my daily market analysis where I will take a look at the market direction and technical levels that I would like to take trades from. And I will also take a look at what news is coming up that day and how that will impact the market. I do this in the trade room, so this is very easy for me. If you would like to do this with me, I invite you to come check out the trade room where we do daily market analysis every evening so we are able to prepare for the next day before the session starts. Another important thing to keep in mind is developing a trade plan. So creating a trade plan for that day. What pairs are the best ones to trade and where are you looking to take trades from for that day on those pairs? Next thing is planning for the week. I do this on a weekly basis every Sunday. Every Sunday, I take a look at my charts. I take a look at what is the market direction, what is the trend, where are the prices going. So I look at multiple different pairs, and I usually do a call every Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern. This is a free call for everybody. If you'd like to join me on doing this market analysis, please join my mailing list and you'll get an invite to join that call. If you're not able to join me live, you can also check it out on my YouTube video where I will post my market analysis every Sunday. So I'll take a look at market direction and also the different technical levels where I'm expecting the price to go to for that week. I also take a look at upcoming news for that week because news can have a huge impact on our trading. I'm a day trader. I tend to stay away from the news. So when there's news coming out, I don't place trades in that particular currency that the news is coming out for. Okay, next thing is post-market review. Just as preparation is very important, post-market review is very important for us as well. During this post-market review, we want to take a look at our day. How did our day go? How did our trades work out? And what things do we need to change next time we are trading? So some of the key questions you want to ask yourself are, how did the markets behave? What setups were present that day and how did they play out? Was there a setup that worked out really well, and what were the conditions around that? I would generally make a note of these conditions. How do you expect the market to behave for the next day? Another important question to ask is, did you follow your trade plan? And if you did, how did that work out? Are there any changes that you need to make to that trade plan? And if you did not follow your trade plan, what happened and how can you course correct as a result of that? And the most important question is, what changes do you need to make going forward? So this quick little review, we don't need to write a whole story about this. This can just be a few lines. We just need to make sure we capture our thoughts for the day and we are able to sort of condense that information and have it readily available for us. Next thing is doing a weekly review. Usually every Friday or the weekend, I take a look at a few key things. The first things you want to look at is, how did the markets behave that week? Was there something unexpected that happened? Was there something big? Was there big news that changed the direction of the market? All those things are very important to capture. Now, another thing you want to ask yourself is, how do you expect the market to behave next week? Next one is, did you follow your trade plan? Again, for the whole week, we want to take a look at this question. Did you follow your trade plan? Did you actually take the trades that you said you were going to take based on your market analysis and your trade plans? Did you stick to the trade plan? Did you have your stop loss, take profit targets in place? Those are the kind of questions you want to ask yourself here. And again, most importantly, what changes are you going to make going forward? So this is a very important question to ask yourself at the end of the week, again, looking at the entire week. So those are the few key steps that we need to do regardless of the type of account we are trading, whether we have a small account or a large account. It doesn't matter what strategy you are using, but those are some of the key steps. Regardless of your account size, regardless of how much experience you have, we still need to do those steps. So whether you are a new trader or a professional trader, if you want to become a professional trader, those are the steps I recommend taking. So now let's get to the fun stuff. Based on my goals that I set up and the account that I am planning to trade, here are some projections. So I created an Excel spreadsheet and I thought we would take a look at what size we can grow an account to if we were to start off with $3,500 and what would that growth look like. So let's walk through the Excel spreadsheet and see what that account will look like in a year. So first thing I'm looking at in my Excel spreadsheet is the amount that I'm going to invest, which is $3,500. My weekly PIP goal will be 100 pips, and this is the goal that will stay constant throughout the year. Because I have $3,500 in the account, I will start off by trading 3 mini lots. With a mini lot, each pip is worth $1, and with 3 mini lots making 100 pips a week, we'll get to $300. So the first week I will make $300. The entire month it will be $300 per week, which will give us a monthly total of $1,200. So after a month, if we have a net gain of 100 pips per week, we will make $1,200 and we will be at $4,700 after the end of the month. Now that there are more $4,000 in the account, I can scale up. So now I can trade a 4 mini lot. With $1 a pip and 100 pip weekly goal, I am looking at $400 per week in terms of profits. So every week for the month, we're looking at $400. So total will be $1,600, which will give me a total of $6,300 at the end of that month. So now that we are over $6,000, I can afford to trade 5 mini lots. With $1 a pip and $100 weekly goal, I'm looking at $500 per week in terms of profit target. And for that month, I am looking at $2,000 monthly gain, which will give me a total of $8,300 at the end of that month. So now that I have $8,000, I can scale up once more. So I'm going to trade 6 mini lots. So here, all I'm really doing is I'm keeping my weekly goal consistent and I'm just scaling up. So the lesson here is that we don't need to work any harder to make more money. All we need to do is keep our goal in mind and be consistent. So if I can make 100 pips per week, it's very easy to scale up because as you can see, in just 12 weeks, the account has grown from $3,500 to $8,300. So that's a substantial gain. So we have more than double the account. So if you wanted to take a look at these projections, I invite you to go check out my YouTube channel. Just do a search for Trading with Venus, and you'll be able to see the channel. And there I will have the projections worksheet, and you can also download this from the show notes page. So overall, by the end of the year, so I'm only looking at trading about 44 weeks instead of the whole 52 weeks. So there will be times that those will not be the good times to trade, like Christmas and other holidays. And there will be other times where I would want to take time off. So I thought we'll just keep it at 44 weeks. If I trade 44 weeks in a year, making a consistent weekly gain of 100 pips, which is very reasonable, only 35 pips per day. At the end of the year, if we just keep consistent and just scale up and scaling up gradually, not instantly. So it's just scaling up gradually. By the time we get to week 41, I'm looking at trading standard lots. So at this point, we go from trading $1 a pip to $10 a pip, and our account size at the beginning of 41st week will be 33,500, and at this point, I will be trading 1.3 standard lots. So one full lot and 3 mini lots. So 1.3 standard lot is what I would be trading with $10 a pip. So the weekly gain for that, just keeping the 100 pips, would be $1,300. So the monthly gain at the end of our 44 weeks will be at $5,200 a month. And at the end of the year, at the end of 44 weeks, we are looking at a total of $38,700. So if we take a look at where we started with $3,500, we can see that we end up at $38,700, which is a net profit of 1,105%. That is a pretty good profit in my opinion. And we didn't really have to work that hard. We're just trying to make 35 pips per day, 3 days a week, only 100 pips a week. All we are doing is we are being consistent, following our process, and we are following through with this. So that's the plan. I will be doing weekly reviews on the trading account where I will show you the trading account, where it is, and I will also be sharing some lessons learned from that week. So if you want to follow me, I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you will see when I post that video on a weekly basis. So if you want to follow my journey of trading my small account, I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just do a search for Trading with Venus and you will see me there. So if you wanted to join me in this journey, it doesn't matter whether you're trading a small account or a big account, or if you're trading a demo account or a live account, if you just wanted to commit to this process and you wanted to join me in this, I invite you to send me an email at raman@tradingwithvenus.com, and I will send you the next steps on how to get started. So the process that I discussed, I also share in my ebook, which is called 3 Steps to Consistent Forex Profits. You can download that on my website. But if you'd like to join me, you can send me an email at raman@tradingwithvenus.com, and I will tell you how to join me on this experiment here. So last but not least, a very important thing to keep in mind is stay focused and never give up. There will be fun times and there will be challenging times, but if you stick with it and practice and keep that in mind that you're practicing to get to an end result, you will be able to stick it out, persevere, and get to your desired result. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. For show notes for this episode, please go to tradingwithvenus.com podcast page and look for episode 57. So that's it for today. I will see you next time.
If you want consistency in your trading, we invite you to join our daily market analysis calls, where we provide the levels to find the best entries and targets on an intraday basis. For a 1-week free trial, please visit www.tradingwithvenus.com. Thanks for joining us today. With much gratitude, your show host, Raman Gill.